A new warning tonight from our meteorologists.
The region's key radar for tracking weather is seeing some blockages, and it could soon impact Wilmington and other areas. WECT's Connor Smith looking into this tonight. Connor, trees have been the cause of the blockage before. Is that the case this time?
Yeah, Fran, it's the same problem as before. Trees are growing too high around the Doppler radar site in Shallotte. That's already affecting scans in some areas and becoming a problem that meteorologists say should be on your radar. It's been over 5 years since an EF3 tornado tore through southern Brunswick County. 3 people died and more than 100 homes were damaged. That tornado in the Ocean Ridge area highlighted a growing problem for meteorologists: trees blocking radar scans.
To get the clearest picture possible from a radar site is imperative.
Chief Meteorologist Gannon Medwick and our First Alert weather team used the Doppler radar in Shallotte. As you can see, in 2021, trees partially block the radar's view to the south, impacting how accurate forecasts could be for major storms.
If you're missing a couple of scans in a couple of directions, you're just going down a little bit of a hazier picture. So you want to always be able to showcase the picture as clear as you can see it.
Those trees were cleared in 2022, but the problem is slowly returning.
Now looking at them, it's well into the third stanchion as all this tree growth has occurred.
Stephen Paff is the lead meteorologist at the National Weather Service in Wilmington. He says some of these trees are starting to block the radar again, this time in new directions.
Especially where we live, it's so important with the hurricane threat that we have and nor'easters. You can't control the trees, you can't control the nature part of it.
Medwick says they're already seeing some radar loss in Brunswick and Columbus counties.
There's getting some low-level blockages maybe here, and perhaps even starting to see some issues here.
And as the trees keep growing around the radar, that could extend to New Hanover and Pender counties.
The concern would be the stands of trees that are like here on this side.
Meteorologists say this isn't a cause for concern yet, but something they're watching to make sure your First Alert forecast is as accurate as possible.
It would be better for everyone if that picture was as clear as possible.
And Paff says it's not totally clear when this will become a bigger issue. That depends on how fast those trees grow. He says there isn't an easy solution either, since many of the trees are on private property. We'll make sure to keep you updated. Connor Smith, WECT News.